Welcome to the metaphysical space. I'm Ira Morphy. Today we're actually going to be covering so much about the masculine and feminine energies, how to navigate them, how to create reality using them, how they work in men and women, how to use them for attracting your ideal partner or balancing yourself out, all of that talk. I actually have asked you guys for some questions in my Instagram broadcast channel, and I asked you, hey, I'm gonna be doing a podcast on masculine and feminine energies. Let me know what questions you want me to answer. And I got your questions right here, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And we're gonna get started right away. So the first question is by Franken808, and he asks, what is the best way to manage and navigate with both energies? Good question, Franken. So the first thing that I want you to know about masculine and feminine energies is that once again, we all have them. And it is the primordial force behind the creation of your reality right now. Like how your reality comes into formation, what you see right now, everything is thanks to your masculine and feminine energies, right? So when it comes to navigating them, I believe that it works very differently for men and women. Doesn't matter what your sexuality is, doesn't matter how you dress or all that stuff, because personally I have met women, for example, that are very masculine, that are going out with other women, etc., but they are leading from their feminine energy, right? So I think it's very important to work with the vessel that you have been given, because it does facilitate the way that you create reality when you tune into your body, whether you're a man or you're a woman. Okay, so for men, if you want to balance out your masculine and feminine energies, you want to navigate them, it's very important for you to realize that in order for you to even be in your divine masculine energy, you need to be in tune with your heart, okay? There's no such thing as divine masculinity if you are not in tune with your feminine energy. In order for these two energies to be in harmony within you, they need to be in touch with one another. When you swing into extremes, it is because you're actually repressing one of your energies, okay? So if you want to navigate them as a man, it's very important for you to work with your solar plexus, okay? Yes, you're gonna have your ideas, your creativity, which is gonna come from the sacral, but the way that you channel your emotions, that you channel this energy, is through taking action, right? Through taking action, through being consistent, through having a structure, through having organization and actually following it. Men work with the sun, okay? So it's very important for you to work, of course, with the sun, right? Like waking up early, having some sort of routine, having your day planned out, everything works better in structure with men, right? So that structure actually comes from your creativity, your vision, which has to do with your feminine energy. And if you're not in tune with your heart, with that flow within you, then you're going to be creating or doing things out of the ego, which for men can result in you developing different egocentrical traits, or even if it's more extreme, of course, narcissism. So it's always very important for somebody in their divine masculine to be very, very, very much in touch with their heart, with their creativity, to take action and move the body, especially when it comes to emotions, right? Because emotions come from the feminine energy. Men process emotions through action, right? Through that impulse of that Mars energy. You can take it out through boxing, you can take it out through sport, you can take it out through literally just jumping and moving your body. Men process emotions in a different way. Of course, yeah, there's times where you maybe will cry, etc., but it's really important to then use that impulse of emotion and channel it into taking action, okay? Now, women, the way that they navigate these two energies is a different way, right? Just like I told you, this doesn't really have much to do with sexuality, etc. This has more to do with how you manage these two energies within you. So with women, they have the sacral chakra and the heart chakra and third eye more developed than men from birth, just because of their bodies. And throughout time, of course, while men have the root chakra, solar plexus, and throat chakra more developed. But the thing is that throughout time, obviously, they tend to imbalance out, just like everybody, we go through trauma, our parents also impact how these different energy centers work, etc. Just a bunch of things happen, whatever. So when it comes to women, they are prone to having deeper emotional connections with the people and spaces around them, right? So with women, it's very important to channel properly the sacral chakra, because it awakens inside of us when we are around 13, when you get your menstruation, your womb, right? The sexual organs activate within you, and that is when your sacral chakra has activated. And when your sacral chakra activates, you are going to have an override of creative energy or sexual energy that comes forth. If you don't know how to channel it, it can go into chaos, right? If you don't know how to build up your solar plexus to properly channel, right, the masculine energy, that sexual energy can become emotional chaos. It can become hypersexuality, or it can become codependence, etc. It just goes into an extreme. So for women, whether you feel you're more in the masculine or you're more in the feminine, it doesn't really matter. For women, it's very important for them to tune into their bodies, yes or yes. So tuning into your cycle to build out your work schedule, right? When you're ovulating, having more creative flow. When you're menstruating, having more integration practices for you to relax and actually go within. So overall, following your body and how it feels is very important. Remember that the subconscious mind rules the body, okay? And women have the ability to tune into different parts of their body to know exactly what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and how to approach the day, rather than, men who, wake up in the morning, their testosterone goes high and then it drops at night. We work differently than men. And besides the cycle though, for women, it's very important for them to lead from that feminine energy, right? To magnetize and rather than go and chasing like men do, which is not bad, by the way. It's just different ways of working. Being in tune with your emotions and processing them when they come forth, right? A lot of women could find pleasure perhaps in processing their emotions like men do, right? Through action, through that, taking out that force externally. But the best way for you to process emotions as a woman is for you to go within and begin to truly feel them and stay with them, hold space for them, right? And then release through, maybe crying or perhaps just sitting with it for a long time. And general emotions tend to process better for women internally rather than men, which is external. And again, besides the cycle, we do tend to work with a rhythmic flow, something that is more tuned into our bodies, how we feel, our internal compass in a sense. And we work way better in creative flows, right? Doing things when we actually want to do them rather than forcing ourselves to fit a rigid structure, a organized step-by-step plan, which for me, it actually really helps, of course, to plan out your day, etc. And remember, of course, just like men, in order for you to even be tuned into your divine feminine energy, you need to be tuned into your masculine energy as well. So yes, you still got to take action. Yes, you still need to organize yourself. Yes, there still needs to be structure, but it doesn't need to be as rigid as you need it to be. It needs to be in flow and ever changing, just like your feminine energy is. Remember, your masculine energy is meant to be a container for your feminine energy. All right, so the next question is by Anita Morejon. For women that had to do everything on their own, when a man with a lot of masculine energy comes, is it okay to fully surrender, and how to balance that out? So this is a really good question because I myself have a husband with a lot of masculine energy, and yes, it is very important for you to surrender, but not in the way that red pill podcasters make it out to be. They're like, oh my god, your woman needs to surrender and listen to you, blah blah blah. That's just not how it's meant to be. So when it comes to surrendering to your masculine counterpart, it's more of listening when they are organizing things. The male mind in a relationship with a woman tends to be the protector automatically. I mean, of course, in a healthy relationship, the protector, right? The one who organizes, who tends to look at the things and be like, okay, we're going to do this like this, and we are going to organize it this way because this way is more convenient, etc. But the woman is the one that actually mostly holds the vision, right? The woman is the one that mostly is like, okay, actually, this is what we should do together, right? This is the vision for the future. This is the house that I want to be in, right? This is how I want to decorate it. This is what I want to do with our lives, whatever, right? She holds the vision. She holds that vision for the future, and the man helps her, or helps, they both help each other build that vision, but they have their own, they surrender to each other in different ways, okay? So when it comes to surrendering to a man, it's more of allowing him to actually lead how we're going to structure that vision that you have. And of course, once again, somebody truly in their divine masculine is going to have a connection to the heart. So if you feel your counterpart is super cold, they're detached from the relationship, and they're simply just looking to control you, I promise you that's not a divine masculine. You should run for the hills. But when it comes to you as a woman, you still need to also have your connection to your own masculine energy in your own individual journey, not just the relationship's life, but your own individual journey. Like, what are you doing to take action in your life and to build things in your life, right? Are you putting your vision into reality in your own life, right? Because yes, you're gonna have, as a couple, you're gonna have a vision together, but you also need to have a vision for your lives individually, okay? And yes, of course, that can turn into like a vision that is also together, right? Like me and my husband, we have a vision together that we build towards. We work in the same company, we do everything together, but we also have our own lives, right? Like he loves doing sports, I love doing my own thing, right? Like the esoteric, etc. So we have our own individual lives and we take action in that as well. So remember, balance is first achieved within you before you do it with a partner. All right, so this is a really good question. Niledis 1. Once the balance is reached, what is the first sign we are once again leaning towards one more than the other? I love this question, Niledis. If you're already watching, you understand that even once you reach that good alignment, eventually you're going to fall out of it. Why? Because of course we need to grow, and in order for us to grow, when we begin to outgrow the current self that we are going to have imbalances because we're no longer aligned with the life that we want. So yes, even when you reach that alignment, you're doing pretty good. Eventually you're gonna outgrow it and you're gonna misalign, so you can then align again and actually enter into that next stage of your life or next self. But anyways, what's the first sign that you need to check when you are misaligned again? So if you are somebody who tends to go more into the masculine energy, the first sign that you're going to see, you're starting to do things just for results. You're starting to only look the accomplishments that you have. You stop really caring about the impact that you make, right? Because you're disconnecting from the heart, which is the feminine energy and the connection to the collective. So you begin to disconnect from from actually making an impact, and you begin to do things from a selfish place. And if you're too in the feminine energy, the way that you can start to notice that you're going to in the feminine energy is where you begin to become more distracted, right? You begin to distract yourself with either social media, or instead of doing the action, like before you're doing the action, you start to get like ideas of like, maybe I should do it tomorrow. Maybe I shouldn't do it now. You start to look for reasons to not do the things, and then you don't end up doing them. You begin to procrastinate overall, right? So different signs like that means that you have actually begin to repress again the masculine, which is, the actual taking action. If you begin to go twin the feminine energy, you're also going to start noticing that you are not saying the things that you want to say, right? You're not using your masculine center, the throat chakra, to say your truth. Maybe you're allowing people to, do things that you don't want them to do. You're saying yes when you want to say no. You're not setting those boundaries, right? You're beginning to an extreme. Now, if you're going to in the masculine, one of the best ways to actually start seeing that is for you to truly see if you are putting yourself above others, right? Because the masculine energy tends to forget the collective if it's not in balance. So it puts itself on top of other people. If you're starting to, when you're arguing your opinions or you're debating them, are you seeing yourself better than the other? Or are you seeing yourself like genuinely sharing something and, debating the topic, etc., right? So you want to start seeing like when you start to embody, I'm going to put the graph here. When you start to embody the fall of consciousness of each of these energies, and that's when you should begin to, start the process of building out the energy that you're beginning to repress. All right, so the next question is Maria Alatina. She asked how to balance both energies and who should take the lead. So once again, for men, the best way for them to work out their energies is for them to actually use and not lead from the masculine energy, because you should always lead, always, whether you're man or woman, you should lead from the feminine, because that's your, the connection to your spirit. But yeah, for a man, it's very important for them to take action, right? For them to channel their emotions through physical action overall, the external, right? To build things, to, take leadership, to structure things, etc. And for women, it's very important for them to be in tune with their bodies, be in tune with their cycles, be in tune with, how they feel, and to lead from that place and be more in flow rather than having rigid structures. So how can you balance them out? Right here, I'm gonna put the graph. So with this graph, it's very important to notice that if you want to balance out your masculine and feminine energies, you need to check where you are here and then begin to build the other side. right? So if you're somebody who's twin the masculine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, and you wish to build more feminine energy to reach a balance, then you need to start to see the feminine energy as something that's not dangerous. Okay, most of the time when you have repressed, well, not most of the time, literally all 99%, 100% of the time, when you have repressed an energy and because of that gone into an extreme, is because you look at it at a subconscious level as dangerous. Okay, either something happened in your life where, you know, they told you it's not okay to feel. I mean, I'm talking about, you know, repressing the feminine, where they told you to not feel. They told you that, you know, girls are pussies. So they told you that feminine energy or just being feminine is bad. Where they told you, I mean, for men specifically, this, where, you know, crying or feeling your emotions is bad or it's weak, etc. So just all these different things that you have in your subconscious mind about the feminine energy, you need to start like reprogramming them and working through them and begin to, you know, tell yourself like, hey, like this is not like this, right? So that's one of the things that you need to keep in mind when it comes to reprogramming these energies, because there is a reason why you even repress it in the first place, and you want to talk yourself out of it in a sense whenever you see these different dialects coming forth. Now the second thing, in order to balance them, is to see what you're missing, right? Like look at the chart. What are you missing in order to balance the feminine energy, right? How can you tune more into your heart? How can you tune more into collective compassion, like actually having compassion for people? How can you begin to have more nurturing towards yourself, right? And towards others as well? How can you begin to build, to let your creativity flow? Earlier in the podcast, I actually answered how, you know, it is different for men and women. So of course, depending whether you're a man or woman, there's different ways to integrate the feminine energy. But let's say you have an imbalanced masculine energy instead. So you are repressing the masculine energy. First of all, building the relationship again with the inner father, right? Seeing why you're repressing the inner father. Perhaps you have a bad relationship with men. Perhaps you have a bad relationship with your father, right? Perhaps you have a bad relationship with the overall masculine like structure, you know, routines, organization, right? So it's very important to begin realizing that there are healthy ways to express the masculine energy. Same with feminine. Once again, building that inner relationship with the mother, forgiving the mother as well if you have problems with her. Building a relationship with women again. With the masculine, if you're repressing it, it's important to start out slow, right? If you're not somebody that takes action, start out slow, because the brain hates taking action immediately and stepping out of the comfort zone and starting something completely new out of nowhere. Like if you're trying to do or change up your routine like that, it's not gonna work, I promise. So you're gonna start off with like getting the picture of like what you actually want to do. Like, I want to start this routine, I want to, you know, do this business, and kind of work your way backwards, right? If you want to start a business, begin to see what are the exact steps that you need to do in order to take that. And if you don't know exactly what to do, remember, just take the first step and the rest will appear, okay? That's how the life works. So the moment that you begin to do things one at a time, it's like you're planting seeds. Just you're doing it every single day. Eventually that's going to accumulate to something, right? But the more that you take action, the more that you're going to program your brain to take action. So start out small. Same with boundaries, right? People who are very in the extreme of the feminine because they repress the masculine don't really have good boundaries. So what you're going to do, you're going to begin building boundaries. Start off small, right? Somebody tells you something, say no if you don't really actually want to say yes. Begin to see where you can actually set boundaries in your life. And remember, boundaries are first set with yourself. Whenever you let somebody overstep your boundaries, is because you have overstepped that boundary with yourself. You are not standing up for yourself. You are not setting that boundary, right? So that's the thing. Every single time you break promises to yourself, you are overstepping a boundary. It's just like your friend who's coming up to you and they're like, okay, well, I thought I was gonna do this for you like I promised, and I just didn't do it, right? They overstepped the boundary. They broke a promise. Same thing. It happens to yourself. Remember, the solar plexus, the masculine energy center, is also a center of not only organization, action, but also confidence, okay? And confidence is built through actually respecting your boundaries. And part of respecting your boundaries is not only telling other people to respect your boundaries or, you know, setting them, but also setting them with yourself, right? Like not breaking those promises. But also don't overpromise yourself like all of these different things, like, oh, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow at 5 in the morning when you're currently waking up at 10. Okay, that's not realistic, and you're just gonna break that promise and gonna feel bad, and it's gonna affect your confidence. Okay, actually, let me know in the comments if you want me to create a video on how to build masculine energy, because I haven't actually made a video about that. Well, I have like mentioned it many times, but I haven't really made a video about it. But I have made a video on how to get out of your masculine energy as a woman, which you can check it out right here. And also for the men looking to actually balance out their divine masculine, I have a whole video right here too. So AD Thorath said, I am finding it difficult to make a career. I don't have a drive to make money, so how do I balance masculine energy? I love this question. So it's very important to realize that we actually don't naturally have a drive to make money from the soul ever. So our ego is actually the one that has the drive to make money. So somebody who's really in the feminine energy is not gonna have a very established ego. So that's the thing, like when somebody's like really driven to make money, that's because they're in the extreme of the masculine, but that doesn't really happen in the extreme of the feminine. So the reason why, of course, is because, you know, there's not much masculine energy going on over there. And you shouldn't even want to make money because, you know, that's it. Like, money comes when you begin to fulfill your soul's desires from an abundant way, in a way where you're not focusing on it, and that's like everything that you want, and you know, that's it. You, girl, understand that it's really beautiful that you have that you don't really have a drive to make money, because what you really probably have a drive for is to actually make an impact, to be creative, to express yourself, to express your soul, and the money will come. Okay, so the way that masculine and feminine energies work for money is that you are meant to combine the feminine energy, which is, you know, the connection to the collective, to your heart, to your creative expression, and actually express it physically using the masculine energy, taking action, organizing it. And your masculine energy is your identity as well. So what is your individual way of having or impacting people? Like, how are you going to make an impact? What is that individual thing that you're going to be pretty good at? What is your uniqueness? Okay, so you need to combine these two, and that's how you make a career. The masculine energy, especially if you're somebody in the feminine energy, is not gonna work if it doesn't have a connection to the heart, right? Remember that the feminine energy is the drive, the fuel behind the masculine energy. It needs the feminine energy in order to even take action, because it's like, if you don't really have that connection to your heart, if you don't really have that connection to that internal vision, then it's like trying to turn on a car and there's like no gasoline, literally. So that's literally why you don't have drive to make money, because, you know, that's making money is really just coming from the ego. But actually making money where you're happy doing what you do, where it just flows to you, comes from first aligning your internal vision to your external action. So for you, my girl, begin to actually see what you're good at doing. How can you make an impact, right? Connect to that part of you, and then begin to take action on it, and begin to see how you can make it a career. And that's when you're going to start making money. But you're not just going to be focusing on money. You're not going to be focusing on results. You're going to be focusing on the impact. And the more that you focus on that, the better that you get at it, the more that you're gonna receive. So C3 in 7-7 asks how to balance out the fallen feminine yin that causes victimhood, lack of boundaries, relationship issues with male figures. So we covered a bit of those last two, like lack of boundaries and relationship with, you know, with male figures a little bit before. But victimhood is one that is very important to realize, because at the end of the day, yes, like you are creating this whole thing, and yeah, maybe like the trauma that happened to you could have happened to you, but you decided what to do with everything at the end of the day. So it's very important to take accountability and start to notice, like, where do you fall short? Like, where do you fall victim to the things that happen externally to you, right? The most important thing for you to take accountability, which helped me so much, because I dealt with very hardcore depression when I was a teenager, and I was literally like queen victim. I swear, like, it was so bad. I felt so bad for my friends. I would like blow up their phones, like, you know, talking about like my life, and that I had abusive parents and all this stuff. Not parents, well, dad, and all this stuff. And I just, you know, hated my life, whatever. And they were so tired of me. And I remember when I had my spiritual awakening, I was just sitting in the bay, like looking at the bay in Miami, and like looking at how pretty the water was, and like how beautiful the sky was, with the sun going down. And then I realized, like, oh my God, like there's people who have it way worse than me. and I'm just like crying about my life and like, you know, complaining about it all the time. And yeah, you know, I grew up in the hood. Like, I didn't grow up with the things that happened to me were atrocious. Like, I could be out here crying about all the traumas that I've had. But at the end of the day, like, there really is so much wonder in life and so much beauty where you actually look at it. Okay. And that was the day I was just looking at how pretty everything was, and that I was even able to sit in this bay and look at the water and look at the sunset, and being in such a thriving city like Miami, right? Even though I was in a bad area, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm here. I can make something out of myself, right? So looking at the things that you have and being grateful, like gratitude really is the thing that pulled me out of the victim mindset. Gratitude. Because what gratitude does is that it shifts your energy from what you're lacking to what you do have. And the moment that you begin to see the blessings in your life, not only do you begin to actually focus on that so it grows more, because you know where you put your energy grows, but you also begin to have a hardcore relationship with God. Right? With God, your higher self, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it. I call it God. And that's when you begin to have more of that, because you can see God's blessings. You can see your higher self giving you miracles all the time. And if you don't notice them, you're not gonna see them, right? And you're gonna focus on what's negative. So if you want to get out of the victim mindset, build a practice with gratitude, especially when you are feeling like life sucks, like why is this happening to me, etc. Build a gratitude practice. Everything always happens for a reason, and when you are accepting of that fact, that is when you will begin to realize the divine order behind everything. So where there is a loss, God is actually giving you a blessing in disguise, right? And you're gonna see later on how many times in life have you felt like you genuinely were fucked. Okay, sorry for my French. Genuinely were so messed up. You're like, oh my god, my life is over. And then later on you were like, man, that was the best thing that has happened in my damn life. Okay, so listen, begin to actually see life as like, okay, everything happens for a reason. There's something in disguise, and focus your energy on what it could mean, right? Like, focus on your energy on the hope in it all, like the faith, or like the things that could actually come out of these bad experiences as well. Taking accountability also means you actually taking action, right? So begin to actually see, okay, like, what do I like to do? What do I actually want to do? And even if it's not what you end up doing in the future, start somewhere, right? Start doing something. Start to actually take action. Start to take accountability for your life and change things around slowly, remember. Okay, another thing is that when it comes to boundaries, remember, once again, yeah, like boundaries comes with you actually keeping promises to yourself. So don't make promises that you're not going to keep to yourself. Like smoking, for example. If you're like been smoking for a long time, don't be like, okay, well, I'm gonna stop smoking next week and then you don't, right? Don't do that, because if you know you're not gonna stop smoking, don't promise yourself those things. But besides that, when you have a strong identity, that is when you begin to discern your external world from what is and isn't aligned. And in order for you to build a strong identity, it's very important for you to envision that identity every single day. Like, you gotta realize that your imagination, people fantasize imagination all the time, but when you visualize so strongly, your brain doesn't even know what's the difference between what you actually experience and what you visualize. As long as you match that visualization that you have with your emotions, right, the feminine, and the thought, which is the masculine. So it's very important for you to actually envision who you want to be every single day and feel it and feel like that is real, because the moment that you begin to do that, your brain begins to see your self-worth as, you know, aligned with that vision that you want to be. Okay, because your self-worth has everything to do with your with your past experiences. Like, how many emotions or how many experiences have you had that are, you know, bad or good, etc. And that's what your self-worth is based off. So when you begin to have those internal experiences that are aligned with the ideal version of yourself you want to be, that is when you begin to build these internal memories that are going to influence your self-worth. And then from there, you can actually better set boundaries, you can better take action, and you will naturally begin to align more with that version of yourself. And the other thing, of course, is the fight with the male figure, right? With the father or with the boyfriend or with the men in your life. It's very important to begin letting go of that resentment, which is, not a one day to the next thing. It's something that you build throughout time, but you need to set the intention like, hey, I want to begin, like tell your higher self, I want to begin letting go of the resentment towards men. Forgiveness is super important. Forgiveness is not like, how the Bible or Christianity says it. Forgiveness is more like, okay, I see the God in this. I see the God in this situation. I see God in this person, right? Because everything is one. So when you begin to have forgiveness, it's like no matter what happens, you're like, okay, well, everything happened for a reason. Like that person's probably hurting a lot. And you begin to have more of like those compassionate eyes without like, while at the same time having discernment, which is really great. So yeah, if you are in a fight with the male figure, set the intention, right? Your intention is so important. Set the intention that you want to begin letting go of this, and you will start to see in your life opportunities for you to breathe, relax, and begin to let go of resentment, not hate things so quickly, right? You can also visualize that male figure that hurt you, and this also works for the female figure in case, you have a fight with the mother, as an inner child, right? Like they are their inner child, and before they were hurt, they were just this innocent child that then got messed up by the world, and then they hurt you, right? So when you have those eyes, right, doing that visualization really changed my life. I did that one with my father, and it was really interesting because at the end of the day, everybody at some degree is still a child. We just mature, to become adults, but a lot of us, in the world are just hurt children hurting other hurt children. Like it's just functioning from that hurt inner child standpoint. And when you begin to look at the world from that lens, you're gonna be like, damn, like, that's really how God looks at the world. If you kind of like, want to talk about God, begin to see the situation from God's eyes is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, guys, so those were all the questions for today. This is honestly such a cool topic. I'm definitely going to be doing more of this because answering questions and, asking you guys like, hey, like, what do you want me to answer is really cool for different podcast episodes to do. Maybe we can do some about dream work or shadow work or subconscious reprogramming, creating reality, etc. So this is, a pretty good idea. And if you want to hear of any of these topics, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I'm Myra Morphy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.